as well. So it's great to meet you. Excited to have you on today, and Lisa as well. It should be a great conversation as we discuss NWSL, the success you've had this past year, and maybe looking forward what we can expect.
Great. Thank you for being. It's really exciting to be here. Hi, Sandra.
Hey, everybody. I'm excited to chat. I'm always excited to chat with you, Lisa. You know that.
We've had a lot of opportunities this past 13 months.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, awesome.
Am I getting into this, Matt? Are you getting into
it, Sandra. I'll just pass it right to you.
We're passing over to the expert.
Well, I'm excited to talk to you both, Matt. I don't want you thinking that I'm not excited to talk to you either, because Anheuser Busch has done some great things within the league here, but we're going to give Lisa the opportunity first here before I pick your brain a little bit. The league, Lisa, you and I have spoken before in the past, and, you know, we've talked a lot about how it feels like the league is truly in a transitional period of time right now. It's a very monumental moment for this league, sort of looking back, and it's already outlasted its predecessors and previous women's pro sports leagues here. And the announcement and the unifying partnerships between the league and certain brands that have come into place, certain businesses that have come into place, has been significant. Even if we just take a step back into last year with the Challenge Cup coming to life, partnering with Secret Deodorant, Fall Series partnering with Verizon, it's so unique, these deals, when they're announced. They're not just like, hey, here's a brand, here's a business, here's throwing around some money. There's some real work that's involved in nailing down the right fit for this league. And I was hoping if you could maybe touch on that a little bit to start us off.
Well, thank you. And thanks, Karen and Matt, for our most recent one. I have to give a shout out to my Chief Revenue Officer, Mitch Pohl. We've been together for a long time. And so I think we work pretty closely together, but I'm going to give him a shout out for just really ramping us up in the last 6 months. It's definitely hard to keep up with him. But I think, Sandra, what you said is the most important thing is for us. And I just want to stop for a minute. Everybody, we're 9 years old. We are 9 years old, and we get compared, and we're so excited, to the MLS or to the WNBA or to the NFL. The NFL is 100 years old. They're 100 years old, and we're 9. So we're growing. And as a growing league, we definitely are excited about our growth, most importantly, because it feels like the fan base and audience out there has been waiting for us. But we also, you know, we're small, and we definitely have challenges, as we saw last year. But I think when brands look for us, or the area of most connection with us, is not only are we a great sport. I mean, if everybody who I talk to about the league, and I've now seen it myself for the past year, goes, even if they're just seeing a game for the first time, they're overwhelmed by how great the product is. That is the first comment that everybody says, is they go, oh my God, this is the best women's professional soccer in the world. And, you know, while some days are harder for us to protect that than others to protect that title, it truly is. We have 40 of our athletes this year are going to be going back to join their federations to play the Olympic Games. We have 10 teams, and the parity at the top of the table, Sandra, and you can talk about this, is really tight. I mean, we just had New Jersey, New York, Gotham Football Club vying for the Challenge Cup. And 3 years ago, I don't think anybody would have happened that. Last year, I don't think anybody would have guessed that would happen. But I think it really is about being the best product on the pitch. But then it's also about increasingly, it's about women, investing in women, and women kind of empowering their own path forward. And I think that's our unique area. We are an independent league. We have close relationships with particularly with MLS. I have a good relationship with Don Garber, and I text him all the time for a lot of things, and he always returns my texts, at least to date. But I really think that people are rooting for our success. People like Budweiser, you are our first national sponsor. People don't know that. In 2019, other than Nike, which has been with us for a long time, because they were on the field, Budweiser was our first national sponsor, and they, I think, led the way. And if you remember that campaign, it was really unique. It was like, wait a minute, let's not do a campaign about Budweiser beer. Let's do a campaign about telling everybody, hey, there's a place for you at the table. Matt, Did you even think how successful that campaign would be? Look at us now.
No, never in a million years. But I think it speaks to like what you said, Lisa. Everyone loves it. Everyone's rooting for the NWSL, and I think they saw the product. And Alan mentioned before that use the World Cup, use the Olympics, use these platforms to just showcase the talent, and then realize that all that talent is living 30 miles from your house. It was remarkable, right? So I think it's just a testament and what we've seen that the fan base is just so passionate that it was the spark that I think somewhat ignited it.
Yeah, it was. I mean, Sandra, I don't know if you, because like we always talk, and I was listening to Alan, came on early, and I was listening to Alan and Karen, like there is something different about the soccer fan. And I think you saw the power of it with what happened with Super League. But I think, Sandra, aren't people just discovering the passion, the avidity of the women's soccer fan? I mean, you would know more about that than anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. On the CBS side of things, we knew right away that there was already a core fan base in place for this league. And that's already a great starting point. But the fact that the matter is that they're very engaged. They're not just the fan that will root for their team or root for their favorite player. They'll remain engaged and they watch, and they're very, very, very supportive in all aspects. I remember when Budweiser got announced as the league's official beer and the excitement that was generated around that. So many supporters groups rallying behind that, wanting to work with Budweiser really to push that forward, to say, hey, we want to put our support behind this league, behind these teams and these players, and that includes our dollars. And we're going to show you that we're about it. And we're going to start drinking Budweiser beer any chance we get at the tailgate or at a game if it's available.
Oh,
it's fantastic to see. It's a strong culture, a great fan culture. It's a supportive culture, and they don't just support with their with their words and with their tifos and with all of their chants in the stands. They truly support with their money. They want to throw their dollars at this game.
Well, and Matt, I just have to tell you one Budweiser story. You probably don't even know it because like everybody engages with Budweiser on social media, right? Like you must get millions if that's even a number, right? So about, I think it was, I forget, like it was in January sometime. I forget, maybe it's January or something. I was on a long flight and you're tired. I traveled throughout the pandemic. It was hard, but I traveled, I was really tired and I remember sitting in my seat and I pulled up Twitter, I think, to just check what was going on, checking Sandra's. I check you a lot, Sandra, just to be careful. Anyway, and Budweiser had put out a tweet saying, what did you learn to do in the pandemic? You didn't even know this. So it was like, people were saying, well, I learned to bake bread. I ran a 10K. One of the ones was so awesome that I loved. It was a janitor at school saying, I cleaned and I did extra. It was like amazing. So I just put in there right before we took off, I go, well, I started as commissioner, shut down the league. We did the Challenge Cup, did it COVID free, and increased TV ratings by 500%. And then I shut it off, right? And so I shut off and I went on the flight because I don't use my Twitter on flights at all, or at least my social media manager doesn't want me to. And when I landed, it had blown up. And you guys had given me, like they do something cute. So you gave me a Bairdweiser. Did you know that? It was so instantaneous what your social people did. So you gave me a Bairdweiser back because you put the name in there, but then you called it Bairdweiser. And then you gave it back. But the best thing out of it for me was I'm a public radio geek. I used to work there, so I can be. So Guy Raz of How I Built This saw that Budweiser tweet. And then he asked me to come on and do a series for them. And Sandra, this is the thing that we continue to really go against, is that we don't get enough media exposure for women's sports. We just don't. We're like 4 or 5%, on a good day 6. And that's the whole key, is this virtual cycle of covering the sport, not me, but covering the sport, covering the women's athletes, getting everything we need to do, because that's where we'll win in the end, is if we develop the fan base and the audience.
That's an amazing story, Lisa. I did know this one because our WhatsApp team, we have like a WhatsApp of what's happening on social, and they were just going nuts. They're like, oh my gosh, Lisa, commissioner, just commented on our post. Like, oh my gosh, it's been so like it was pretty cool to see real time while you were in the flight. But it's things like that I mean, Sandra, even to your point, like this engagement with this league is it's there's nothing that you can even compare to it. You talk about people supporting with their wallets too. We would people posting photos of them like in stadiums drinking the beer and like tagging us and tagging NWSL. I think the coach out in Jersey that during the pandemic didn't have the concession stands open, so she went to the local store to buy Budweiser and was giving them out of the back of the truck as she's driving through the parking lot. Like it's just things like that I mean that doesn't happen in sports these days, right? And so like it's that that engagement. I mean it just blows the roof off. It's really cool to see that passion come through.
Yeah, what we're seeing now is like, so we have the Budweiser locker room celebration. It's really now we've had two now with the Challenge Cup, and you start to see the team personalities come out a little bit more. And we've never had the privilege. I mean, Sandra, I'll ask you what you think. I mean, Houston, okay, I was afraid they were going to break the cup. It was crystal. I was like, please don't drop the cup. We only have one. They were a little nutty crazy. But then Portland, we changed it so it was silver. So I think maybe Klingenberg, how many Budweiser? It was I was like watching this going, don't stop. But it was really cute. We have an underage athlete in the locker room, and they gave her Pedialyte to drink.
That is cute. Those locker rooms, they just keep
Budweiser Zero.
They just keep upping the ante. I mean, I remember the Houston one. It was one of the best celebrations we've ever seen in a locker room. Maybe, and then the post parade celebration too. There was like fans handing them cases of Budweiser out the cars that were driving by. It was
don't ever underestimate the Houston Dash. They won Sports Moment of the Year for all of Houston this year, and I suspect in large part it was because of their celebratory nature. They're amazing.
Matt, can I pick your brain for a second? As someone who's, on the, let's say just on the brand side of these things, as someone who covers NWSL, Lisa could probably attest to this too as commissioner. Of course, we're all eager to work with brands and businesses and getting investment into this league. But for someone on the brand side of things, can you maybe speak a little bit to how, like why or how or the feeling of importance of investing in a league like NWSL?
I mean, for us, it's a matter of being as relevant and as energetic in the sports world as possible. And for us, like women's sports has always been important in the sports world, but it continues to be more and more important. And we saw an opportunity that, we kind of saw ourselves saying we're sponsoring the U.S. Women's National Team. We sponsored the U.S. Women's National Team for a long time. Like, why are we not more involved with the NWSL? We've been involved with the WNBA for 25 years. We were a founding partner with them, and we just saw the large opportunity here. And then the follow-up campaign that we had, the future official sponsor was really to say to the other sponsors, like, you guys are like somebody's missing something, right? And it was us for 8 of the years that Lisa mentions, right? And so the value to us, it's just being as locally relevant. A lot of these fans sometimes aren't fans of a lot of the other sports. And so it's a unique opportunity for us to talk to them about the thing that they're most passionate about and be involved and integrated and show them that we also support the things that they like to support. And it's valuable to us, right? And so that's really what it's about at the end of the day. We don't necessarily look at it as men's and women's sports necessarily. It's where the passions lie. And this was a huge passion that we were just excited to get involved with.
You guys really just sort of set the precedent when you broke on the scene and partnership with the league, like Lisa has mentioned already. And it wasn't just about, putting a beer behind this league. You kind of came in a much deeper sense to invest. It was really about setting the blueprint for what it looked like for, a brand or a business to link up with this league. You guys were Budweiser was really pushing others to sort of get in on the ground up and put their weight and their time and their investment behind this league. I remember that campaign, Lisa, the one you mentioned early on, where it was just like, where it was Megan Rapinoe and it was like, you can be the next, watch sponsor, you can be the next official burger of the league. Like I love that. How does it feel to sort of see so many others kind of maybe follow suit, and kind of follow Budweiser's lead really and throw their support behind this growing league?
I mean, it's amazing to see because it all will continue to grow the league, which I think again helps us selfishly, but also is just great for the entire fan base. I mean, I think we helped tell some of the story, help put some of the media behind it, but the product, as Lisa said, was there, right? The reason these brands are coming in is not because Budweiser said, hey, this is an interesting place to be. It's because the fan passion and what Lisa's created these past couple of years have just been incredible. And so I think that's really what it is. And I think, I'm honored you say we made the blueprint, but I think equally, the NWSL helped us create a blueprint of how to be new partners as well. Because a lot of what we built with them was in collaboration. And historically, we haven't done something like that either. It wasn't, hey, let me put my logo here and an official designation at retail. It was a lot more of what do you need? What do we need? How can we come together to be more powerful as a collective unit than individually we possibly could? And that's now the blueprint that we're trying to use elsewhere as well. So I think it was very mutual in that respect.
Lisa, what is it? What is it about getting into these rooms or getting in on these phone calls with all these potential suitors, right, for the league? And what is it that you like to lead with about this league when it comes to sort of, laying out the verbiage of what a sponsorship can look like with this league?
Yeah, I think because I was in Matt's position for so long, I was a CMO before I joined sports, that I come at it from how can we help you solve your problem, right? So many people in sports come out and say, here's what you can do for me. And that is really important. I'm very honest about that. But I always try to go to a sponsor and say, how can we help you, deliver your message in an even stronger way? How can we help you create something distinctive with us that no one else can copy? And I think, just to mention another sponsor, last year, I've been a long time partner with Procter & Gamble and other properties. And literally, we went to Mark Pritchard and Janet Fletcher and Sarah Sanders. She's the director of brand for Secret. We said, listen, we're not going to have a season. I mean, we're not going to have a season if we don't figure out a way to compensate our players, to put on a bubble tournament. And Verizon came in, Google came in, and Procter & Gamble came in, and they entitled the sponsor last year with Secret, and Secret entitled the sponsor this year. And we said, what can we do to craft something that really helps P&G? And P&G is really about purpose in life. And we created a lot of interesting activations, and we're tiny, but we were doing the first activations when there were no fans, right? That people were staying home. So a lot of what we did with Secret, I remember one of the most challenging things we did was they wanted to tell the story about how women's sports needs more exposure. They're very much about equality, and equality for us starts in media. That's the first thing. So we did literally between the time of the last game of the semifinals and the championship, we produced a commercial for them at the field, which they then aired on the finals. And then this year we created a really cool bonus program where the finalists and the runner-up of the Challenge Cup had bonuses that were provided by Secret. But we also created the first time sponsorship for rookies, for the NWSL rookies. Now, that's not something that's been done before, but it's very much in keeping with Secret's positioning as about women's equality. So I always try to approach it from how can we, and I think you'll see that. I'm really excited about MasterCard this morning, but Ally Bank, we're doing the exact same thing. They're helping us with player impact. That was announced previous this year, and Nationwide was also announced several weeks ago. And then the other one we just announced this week was our first audio deal, our audio streaming deal with iHeartRadio.
It's always exciting. It's always exciting to hear. I was laughing. I was like, of course the league announced a deal as recently as today when we have to hop on this wonderful event talking about all of the wonderful opportunities to invest in this league.
Well timed.
So much for your time, and always a blast to talk about it. And I'm going to also throw in a plug and say that probably one of the also really good selling points, Lisa, is letting all of these great brands know that they can be seen on CBS.
That's right.
True.
I think that has been a game changer. CBS and Twitch have been game changers for us this past year. Thank you,
Lisa, Sandra, thank you both so much for the time. Lisa, I know this is your day off, so thank you very much. Congratulations on just the amazing year you've had. MasterCard this morning, the SBJ nomination. I really appreciate the time and the continued partnership. And Sandra, pleasure to meet you. Appreciate all that you've done to help grow the NWSL as well with CBS Sports and your own commentary. And I'm going to see you both hopefully in person here before too long. I'll be back in the airs with you as well, Lisa. So I'm excited to be up there.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
With that, Kieran, call you back up. I know you have an amazing panel coming up on the national versus international sports marketing. With it, Christian Nari, head of commercial content of DAZN. Should be a great conversation. I'm looking